Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is directed by David Yates and is... I need a minute. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is the finale of the Harry Potter series that I am not even ready to review at this point. What I mean to say by that is that it's hard to say goodbye to something that you've gotten really attached to. With these reviews, I wanted to talk about the films and I wanted to talk about everything that went on in them and how much I love Harry Potter. So when you're saying goodbye to something that you love and that you really like, it's kind of hard at times, and this is definitely that moment for me. Don't get me wrong, the first time I saw this movie, I also was quite taken away. I knew that I was not gonna get to watch a Harry Potter movie in theaters again. However, I watched it from the point of view of a purist. You know, a person who's read a book and he's read the original source material and then he goes into the film and he looks for all those inaccuracies. Yeah, that was me. But now that I watched the movie again, I watched it from the point of view of a film. I watched it from the point of view that you can make changes to the source material. You can make certain things different. You can take liberties with what you have on screen. And if you ask me what I think of Deathly Hallows Part 2 now, it is tied with Half-Blood Prince to be the #1 favorite Harry Potter movie for me. I love this movie. Deathly Hallows Part 2 does a very good job of building on what Part 1 set up. The first movie was all about setup. It was all about building the world which we're about to enter, this changed world. Everything is darker, everything is worse, things have gone to shit. And right from the opening shot in Deathly Hallows Part 2, they're showing you that nothing is good anymore. There's something wrong even in the nicest things you remember when you were a kid. For example, the opening shot of this film, it's a tiny little thing, but I just love the way it sets up everything we're about to finish off with. It's a nice end point for where we started out. So the movie starts with a shot of Hogwarts and there are Dementors surrounding it and everything is dark and eerie and you have this haunting music by Alexandre Desplat playing in the background. And remember the first time you saw Hogwarts, how it looked charming and it looked so amazing and breathtaking and you had that amazing upbeat music playing, and now when you see it, it has that dull, dark, eerie sense to it. It's amazing to see where we've come from and how we've ended up here. You really have to ask the question, did anybody 10 years ago when they started watching these movies think that this is how the series was gonna end? So now we start off exactly where Part 1 ended, where Voldemort has now got the Elder Wand and he has now got the most powerful wand to defeat Harry Potter, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione meanwhile are trying to look for the remaining Horcruxes and destroy the parts of Voldemort's soul and eventually destroy Voldemort himself. So you have a very tense scene in Gringotts where they try to get a Horcrux out of Bellatrix Lestrange's vault, which is very well done, and you have them escaping on the dragon and they get out of Gringotts. Very well done stuff mostly. However, this scene does end with a big revelation that Voldemort knows that Harry is going after the Horcruxes and his soul is slowly getting destroyed. And now Harry is aware that Voldemort is coming after them, so he realizes that there is not enough time and that they have to destroy all the Horcruxes quickly. Also, Harry now realizes that the next Horcrux is now in Hogwarts, so they have to take the battle to where they wanted to get it away from in the first place. And what goes around comes around. And that's essentially Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's the Battle of Hogwarts. It's everyone coming together and Harry Potter's side, and you've got Voldemort's army surrounding them, and you have the big battle that's about to happen, which is gonna decide the fate of the entire universe. People are gonna die, things are gonna get destroyed, and throughout this entire film, what sticks more than anything else is David Yates' direction. He set up this movie so beautifully. Every single thing in this movie has that sense of finality. In Part 1, you had those teases, you had that feeling that something was about to happen. In this movie, every shot is like the ending. It all feels like it's all been building to this. This movie answers a lot of questions we've been asking ever since we saw the first few Harry Potter films. We get questions answered about Lily Potter. We'll talk more about her in a minute because there's a lot of integral stuff to be discussed about her. We're getting a lot of questions answered about Harry. We're getting a lot of questions answered about Ron and Hermione's relationship, which actually gets somewhere in this movie, which is kind of cute to see, so That's great. Another thing about this movie that's great is the cinematography. This is a gorgeously shot film, and it's amazingly done. Some of the shots in this movie are haunting, they're tense, and they're very, very well realized. When the Battle of Hogwarts starts, there's a lot of shots in it which are just absolutely thrilling. There's even this one shot, which I still remember to this day. I still remember seeing it in theaters, and it's the shot where Dementors are coming in, and Dumbledore's brother appears from behind, and he launches a Patronus charm to block the Dementors from coming in. I still remember seeing that shot in theaters and thinking, that right there, this is what I mean when I talk about the ending to a film. This is how you set things up. Everything is coming to an end here. And one thing this movie gets brilliantly, and I feel like this is one of the more underrated aspects of the movie, is the score. Alexandre Desplat kills it in this movie. You've got a beautifully done score with some very brutal moments in it as well, and it helps the film so much. There are some scenes in it which are these incredibly tense scenes. The track Courtyard Apocalypse, if you ever listen to it on the soundtrack, is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in a film ever. It's fantastic. Snape dies in this film, as you all may know, but as he's dying, he gives some of his memories to Harry, and Harry sees these memories, and he finds out that Snape had a past with Lily, and that he's always loved Lily Potter, and the fact that James came and then, well, they got into a relationship, and Snape was always bullied around by James Potter, and he had all those things build in him, and then Snape, of course, found out that Voldemort was planning to kill the Potters, but it didn't happen, and he wanted to take care of Harry. So when Harry came to Hogwarts, he always kept an eye on him, despite the fact that he appeared like a complete dick to him the entire series. And of course, you find out his love for Lily is undying. His Patronus is a doe, which is Lily's Patronus. And I love the line where Dumbledore asks him,
Lily? After all this time? Always.
A now beloved line for a lot of people, but I just love the way it's delivered. It just works, and it gives a depth to Snape's character, which you've never quite seen before. And of course, Alan Rickman's performance in this movie is his best performance in this series. He doesn't have a lot of screen time, but whenever he does, it's fantastic. He does a brilliant job in this movie. Technically, though, the movie's fantastic. The visual effects, the makeup, hairstyling. There is one thing about the makeup, though, which I don't like. I'll talk about that at the end of the review. And the set designs, the production, oh my god. The Battle of Hogwarts in the book is something. In the movie, it comes to life in phenomenal ways. There's a great scene where Neville is on the bridge, and he's running from Death Eaters, and they're after him, and the bridge is bombed, and it's like collapses. I love that entire moment of the film. It's very well done. It's a very tense moment also, because like, Neville, come on, get out of there. And also, as the twists are delivered as the movie is going on, you find out as the Horcruxes are found and more pieces of Voldemort's soul are destroyed, and Harry eventually finding out that he's a Horcrux, that part of Voldemort's soul is within him, and this the scar, that's Voldemort's mark on him, and you find out that Harry has to die in order to stop Voldemort once and for all. So when you get these answers at the end of the film, they're very effective, and you really feel for the characters at this point in time. The way they develop relationships, the way they develop the characters, the direction, the cinematography, all of this is coming together. This is a phenomenally done film. And of course, when Harry does go to submit himself, he finds the third Deathly Hallow, which is the Resurrection Stone. You have a very touching scene where he sees his parents, and he sees Lupin and Tonks and Sirius. It's a very brutal, sad scene, and I loved it. In fact, I loved the point where he asks Sirius,
Does it hurt? Dying.
Quicker than falling asleep.
And then as he heads into the forest and Voldemort launches the killing curse on him, Harry is in the limbo between life and death, and he finds that the part of Voldemort's soul which was in him is now destroyed, and he has a choice whether he can go pass on to the next world, or he can go back and he can face Voldemort once and for all. And Harry chooses to do exactly that, and then you have that finale battle with that great lead-in speech by Neville when they could believe Harry Potter is dead, which I absolutely love. Neville gets a lot of moments in this film which are fantastic. And of course, he's the guy who kills the final Horcrux. He kills Nagini as Ron and Hermione are about to be killed by Nagini. And I love that moment as well. And the fight between Harry and Voldemort, while changed, is incredibly tense. And when that ends and Voldemort finally dies, it is a big crowd pleaser for sure. Also, Molly Weasley killing Bellatrix Lestrange, always a win. So yeah, as this movie ends, you suddenly get so much closure. They managed to cover in a 2-hour film what they've been building to for like 10 years now, and I have to give them credit for that they managed to incorporate so much into the film despite the fact that there was so much to cover. And in fact, the ending where he breaks the Elder Wand, a lot of people are very upset with that because they were like, why didn't he do it like the book? Why didn't you just leave it over there, fix his wand, and then walk away? It could have all been fine. In my opinion, I know why he did it. I think I realized what he was doing. Ultimate power shouldn't be with anyone, nor should it be accessible, which is fair enough. I mean, I thought that was a good reason. Yeah, first time I saw it, I was like, just break the wand. But yeah, and in the end it makes sense. So I give credit to the fact that they went that route. Now there was one thing I was gonna say about the makeup and hairstyling, and that was the 19 years later epilogue. While I like it and while I like that scene, I still think that Harry and Hermione did not get the best makeup. Hermione looks like she fought the battle yesterday, and Harry looks like it was like 10 days ago. But you know what? I'm gonna let it slide. Why? Because I'm gonna let it slide. Guys, in the end, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is as good as an ending as it gets. This is a brilliant conclusion to this series. Between this and Half-Blood Prince, I don't know which is my favorite Harry Potter film, but I definitely love both these films. And just like Half-Blood Prince, I'm gonna give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 a 10 out of 10. So guys, that's the end of the Harry Potter series. So guys, what did you think of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2? Next week, we're gonna review Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I'm very excited to talk about that. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like this, you can subscribe, and I will see you guys later.